subjects that I can get passionate about. It has to be something that I believe in. And if I'm going to do a documentary, it has to be something powerful. Obviously, the connotation of American Addict, most people think, oh, it's some form of drug, illicit drug, narcotic like cocaine, heroin. But the fact that nearly 80% of Americans are on some type of prescription medication, and the fact that these are addictive, and the fact that there are more deaths combined than cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamines, it really epitomizes the American culture and this culture of addiction that we really wanted to highlight in the film. The biggest victims in this prescription drug epidemic, in my estimation, are children. Where are we as a country going to be if more and more children are going to be put on these drugs? And this is what we really wanted to examine. We have some very prominent people participating in American Addict 2. Fantastic people to work with, including Matthew Perry, Jonathan Davis of Korn, former congressman and former presidential candidate Ron Paul, former congressman and presidential candidate Dennis Kucinich. They have been advocating for legislation and bringing a public awareness through Congress, through the legislative process, on these medications and its effects. On the other side, we have the celebrities in our film that are giving their firsthand accounts of what these prescription medications did to them, how it affected their lives, and they want to bring that awareness to us as a public and to help us and prevent us from going down that path.
Prescription drugs around the entertainment world, and not just in my scene with entertainers, it's just the whole scene in general, and it's crazy out there. Everybody's on.
Prescription medication is a little bit more dangerous because there is you can write it off or rationalize in your head that you're doing something legal.
When a celebrity commits suicide or dies, basically they are dying from overdoses, whether it's suicide or not, usually it's an accidental overdose, the whole medication part is de-emphasized. And what you'll hear about is the cocaine, the heroin, the alcohol, that we know are bad drugs. But we don't hear very much about the prescription drugs, as if they're okay.
In my practice over those 23 years, I saw more and more regular people coming in on one or more mind-altering psychotropic drug, and the damage that it was doing, with people telling me that they couldn't feel, they couldn't cry when they wanted to, they felt detached from their friends, couldn't think so clearly. These school shootings that we've had, that we know that the kid who did it was on a psychiatric drug or in the withdrawal phase, which is also a very dangerous time and causes increased aggression also.
One of the things that I think is horrible is we have so many classrooms that just aren't stimulating and curriculum that's just plain boring, and we then diagnose pretty much every other boy with ADHD, and that's just them being boys.
The biggest evil in our country are the prescription, these pharmaceutical companies that do this because they're just basically enslaving all these kids with, and making them, all spracked out on drugs. They need them. And that's how they make their money.
Governments want control of our children, not just in first grade or kindergarten, pre-kindergarten, and pre-kindergarten. So it's this dependency. The government knows best, and so often drugs are promoted because there's money to be made, and those people who are making money have an influence on government.
Right now, in America, there are more than 1 million children under 5 years old on one or more psychotropic drug. 2008 to 2012, there was a 53% increase in psychiatric drugging of babies. You can picture the size of a baby, 0 to 1, and you can picture the size of a football stadium. It would take 3.5 football stadiums to fit all of those babies that are being given a psychiatric drug. It's the fastest growing market of all categories of psychotropic drugs, is babies 0 to 1 years old.
His relentless determination to bring awareness to this most important issue is truly inspiring. He has inspired me not only as a filmmaker, but as a human being. More importantly, Dr. Smith highlights how one person, one film, and one voice can go a long way if projected loud enough. And Dr. Smith has been screaming about this issue for years. I would also like to thank the Citizens Commission on Human Rights for their courageous inspiration to shed light on an issue that needs our continued vigilance. Thank you for acknowledging us with this most impressive award. On behalf of Dr. Smith and the entire crew of American Addict, we thank you. And last but not least, I would like to thank my loving wife, Elaine Amari, for her ongoing support. Without her, this would not be possible. Thank you, Elaine. And thank you.